What's up, homies? Legends out there. Thanks for tuning in to Friday, December 9th, Tribal Council meeting. I'm joined by thyself today, rocking some Evolve Through Adversity by DNA. Just throwing that out there. But today we're talking about something awesome, something that should help you evolve no matter what you're going through, because what we're talking about is essentially the the Flex Fitness Nutrition Plan. And I call it that because it's based off of metabolic flexibility and is sort of like a keto flex plan. I prescribe it to anybody who's really, really doing their damnedest to get shredded, but stay strong, because it's great to get shredded and like keto really can help with that. But it's another thing to maintain while you're getting lean and mean. So I've been gifting this cheat sheet out to a handful of people, and I will get into it in just a moment with you guys here today. But first, let me explain how it works. Okay, because the cheat sheet is awesome and you can totally just download it. I'll put it in the DNA network right after this, so you can have access to it. On the cheat sheet though, and I will like throw out this disclaimer first that I'm not a registered dietitian and I do not recommend that you even do this diet, this plan, because it's intense. And first, because I can't like legally, I'm not like supposed to. But this is a cheat sheet according to me and what I do. What I do if I'm ready for like a super hard cut, or getting back into my own kind of like keto flex program. With that disclaimer, I will also like include my own disclaimer that a low carb, high fat diet works. It like 100% does work. And it's actually more of the way that our bodies were designed to metabolize food on a regular basis. I mean, just think that if we're constantly just throwing kindling on the fire, does it really have a chance to reach its maximum capacity? No. Carbohydrates are like kindling. It's like pine needles and stuff. Like our body, our metabolism eats it right up. That's why like you get sugar crashes or you get hangry. That's a sign that your body is really dependent on carbohydrates. If we were to strip the body away from that kindling, you would find out that there's a Duraflame log sitting in the back of the fireplace. And that's what things like keto help us to do. I prescribe keto as a tool. I really don't ever recommend that people stay in a keto state for a long, long period of time, because it's by default also telling the body that it is starving. It's mirroring a starvation diet. That's part of the reason why it works. You don't actually die of starvation because you're feeding your body gobs and gobs of fat. Fat doesn't start the downstream effect of insulin and the hormones that are activated as a product of insulin. So you can get by on just eating and processing fat. It's great because when your body starts learning how to process and metabolize fat, then guess what? We've got this storage all over our body of fat cells that once our body knows how to metabolize fat, how to break into that. So I'm going to teach you how that kind of works today in my Flex Fitness cheat sheet. But I want you to understand that kind of like basic science of it first, because otherwise, I see this all the time. Like people are like, well, I'm just going to go start fasting. And it's like, okay, great. You're just starving yourself. And it probably sucks because your brain is still dependent. Body's not ingesting any now. If we teach the body how to properly adapt to fat, then an intermittent fast works great, because during that fasting time, our body's actually metabolizing stored body fat and using that to fuel its fire. Okay, so the proper steps, let's go through it a little bit. What I have here on this sheet is what I recommend after you've gone through a legit like low carb, like very low carb experience. This flex plan is more of like your maintenance over however like period of time that you want. Let's say like ideally, and this is also kind of like I like to think like Ayurvedically when we're following the seasons a little bit. A good time for this would be if we're really if you haven't done the shift yet, which is the literal like cutting carbs very low, below like 50 grams, usually really below that, and upping the fat exponentially. If you've never done that to the point where your body knows how to process and burn and create ketones, then you got to go through that first. And as a coach who really, really strives on and like wants to promote balance, I'll tell you, I hate doing this. I hate like doing this with my clients is like, okay, I'm gonna have to put on my like hard ass coach hat because there's no real wiggle room here. Either you're gonna do this and we're gonna do it right, or we're not gonna do it all because you're gonna fuck up and you're gonna hurt yourself. And we're gonna waste a lot of time in the process. Because when you start this, it's like a full on 2 weeks is like the kind of the sweet spot. If you can go longer, awesome. And that is like really, really dialing carbs down, upping fats, and letting your body go through the process of learning. It's like a genetic switch. You're switching off glucose as the key and only burner, is the only energy source. And you're teaching the body how to instead, oh, wait, I don't have carbohydrates, but I do have all these fats. How do I learn? How do I relearn how to use them? Because from the first bite of baby formula, we've just been glucose burners. Okay. So if you haven't gone through that process first, got to go through that process. I'm like emphasizing that heavily because if you skip that process, everything else is going to suck. It's not going to be as effective at all. Okay. So reach out to me for that. I'll help guide you through what that's like, what those 2 weeks are like, and we'll do it the right way. But once you've gone through that, or if you've gone through that already, then we can go through this. So in this, the flex plan, let me see if I can show you it on here. Cool. What we have is essentially we're creating the environment in our body to tap back into fat stores. So as you'll notice here, early Monday, and this is not your entire workout listed here on this cheat sheet. It's really meant to be more nutritional based, but the exercises that I do have on here are meant to be my way of suggesting here's a great way to deplete yourself of any excess carbohydrates or et cetera. So the exercises are more of a tool to supplement what I want your metabolism to be doing. Okay. So early morning, Monday, alarm goes off. You go hit some early morning cardio intervals. These are meant to be kind of in that like zone 2, zone 3, where you're pushing yourself a little bit. You're getting to the point where it's not just aerobic. You want to be tapping into whatever carbohydrate stores are still there because we got to empty out the glycogen storage tank. We got to empty out whatever's still left from the carbohydrates that you were having this past weekend. Now, remember, I'm giving you the plan right now as it stands after you've made the switch. If you need more info on how to make the switch, reach out. I'm not going to give you a cheat sheet on that. It's a little bit too much. It's too delicate. Okay. So early morning, you've gone through these intervals. You're going through these fasted intervals, and you're shooting for a meal plan that looks something like 0.7 grams per kilogram body weight of carbohydrates. Now, for me, I'm like about 182 pounds, 183. That's going to be something like 50, 55 grams of carbs. Okay. Not very many. Protein, 1.5 grams per kilogram, and then fat up at 1.5 grams. Okay. So everything on here is going to give me about like around that 2,000 calorie mark. not like a ton. And for me, my like resting metabolic rate it's going to want more than that. Okay. So this is a range, and I don't recommend this like verbatim, but this is also the like flex program. So the idea is that you're going to be dropping during this time. If you need to adjust it a little bit, go for it, but keep the ratios the same. Got it? So after that first day, that transition day, that Monday, then we're going to start getting into your first intermittent fast. Okay. By the end of that Monday, hopefully we are getting close to keto if we're already a keto adapted. So definitely by the end of Tuesday, we should be in that state. So intermittent fast of at least 18 hours. I usually recommend going like stop eating Monday night around like 6 or 7 p.m. and then don't start eating again until like a late lunch. So like 2, 3 p.m. and then try to eat in that same window. So it'll be like 3 to 7 that you're eating, like a late lunch and a dinner. Okay. In that window of time, we've dropped our carbs a little bit more. We're down to like 0.6 grams per kilogram. We've dropped our protein a little bit and we're upping our fat. Now remember, proteins and carbs yield 4 calories per gram. Fats yield 9 calories per gram. So while some of these numbers are dropping, your calorie content's actually going up a little bit. Okay. By Wednesday, intermittent fast in the AM with cardio. So now that we're like in this keto state, go hit some light cardio. Okay. So it's not like interval cardio. It's just like a light, easy way for your body to stay, okay, I'm pretty much just burning fat now. And I don't have any fat in my system right now, any nutrition to burn. So I'm probably going to be burning straight body fat. Super cool. Okay. To ensure that we're in that like keto state, feel free to drop in. I know I said fasted, but this is kind of like the hack fasted. This is like keto fast of MCT oil and BHB. BHB is beta hydroxybutyrate, which is kind of like nutritional ketones. It's ketones attached to usually like a sodium or potassium. Okay. So that will like induce ketosis no matter what. And then as soon as you're like through that, you'll be just in like a heightened state of, and if you've never been in that before, if you haven't like dealt with nutritional or real ketosis, you'll feel your brain firing at a different level. It can get contagious, which is kind of like, again, while I give the disclaimer, this is a great tool. I don't really recommend staying at this state all the time. Okay. You've upped your carb. So you've lowered your carbs a little bit more, lowered your protein a little bit more, and you're upped your fat. Okay. You can also you can bounce out of ketosis if we have too many proteins. The body goes through what's called gluconeogenesis, where it's turning proteins into glucose. And if that happens, then it still is not going to use the fat. It really is only going to use the fat if fat's like the only thing present. So again, play with these numbers. I can tweak them with you for you if you'd like, but this is definitely a good guideline to help you get into this state. So Thursday looks pretty similar to Wednesday. Intermittent fast again, drop some cardio if you want to again. And then Friday we switch it up. So this is where the flex part comes in, because we should be kind of like super low, drops into that state of like straight up, where body can just be keto cruising. And then come Friday, we're going to make it through like half the day. And then we're going to go just be human. I mean, any of you who know me, I like to have a good time. That doesn't always involve like eating and drinking heavily, but it's like, I don't want to have to think about, well, I can't afford to have this and this. It's like, go enjoy life. Okay. I give a guideline on here still of like, let's see. So Friday, stay clean and taper into more carbs in the evening. So now, and this is an assignment. This is not like, I mean, if you're really, really working towards more cut, awesome. But if you want to maintain muscle mass, I do suggest at this point bringing back some carbs. So to the effect of like 1 gram per kilogram body weight. So you kind of doubled it from, so you're still, for my body weight, I'm like 100 grams of carbs, maybe 90, something in there. Yeah, more like 80, 90. And then just enjoying a little bit more. So loosening up for Friday evening. Okay. Staying clean through the day. Saturday, treat day. Enjoy consciously, stay active. Okay. Saturday is literally your, we call it your undulation day. You're undulating, you're allowing your body. There's a hell of a lot that happens with like the mTOR effect of different protein molecules just like bouncing back after you've been kind of starving them for a while. So at this phase, it's important to allow the body to go back into, okay, now I'm like bringing carbs back. You will see exponential difference by having this undulation day. If you don't have this at all, your body continues to drop, but it won't be at the same rate. When you actually include the day of undulation, or your treat day, as I like to call it. I don't like the term cheat day. It's not a cheat. It's prescribed. Have that treat day, enjoy it, and then get back on the horse. So Saturday, that's what I recommend. Then Sunday, late PM workout, no carbs, and then we're starting to drop our carbs back down to get to the point of, okay, now we're cycling back through this to Monday, early morning AM cardio, to get rid of whatever's left over. And then we start the cycle again. So Sunday is kind of like half, like Friday, think of it as like half on, half off. Saturday, fully off. Sunday, getting back on in the evening. So that's why I recommend that late PM workout and not carb loading afterwards. So after that workout, your body's going to be like, oh, I could use some carbohydrates. Don't have them. That's the point where you're really like, that's where we need to have some self-control and try some tools like MCT oils or BHB, and just get back through it, because that's where that's how we're going to maintain muscle mass and then get back into our keto state afterwards. Okay. Give you a little reminder on there. You can always find your kilograms by dividing your pounds by 2.2. Anybody there in like the UK or Oz or wherever else that they practice the metric scale, which is well, we won't get into that. It makes a hell of a lot more sense. I wish we did, but yeah, you can find that by dividing by 2.2. Okay. So hopefully that helps for all of you guys. Again, this is not a meal plan for everybody. This is not a meal plan for most. This is a meal plan for someone who's really serious about saying, I want to get like the best physique I've ever had. This is for you. Okay. Again, the cheat sheet is there for you post switch. Make the switch first. Got to go through the trenches of like real low carb living for a little while, and then let your body adapt to how to better burn fat, and then you'll be ready for the cheat sheet. So if you have any more questions on it, please reach out. I love to chat about this kind of stuff. And if you want kind of like the BHB and the MCT oils that I take, drop me a line anytime. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully this is helpful for you. Drop me a line about anything else that you'd like to be learning about here in the league. And if you're watching this on Whole Fitness, jump into the league and you can grab the cheat sheet and everything else that we got going on over there. Love you all so much. Happy Aloha Friday. Talk to you soon.